information can identify hazardous conditions and worker behavior before an incident occurs. Research Team 301 has developed a definition of near-miss or non-injury events and has identified best practices associated with near-miss reporting. With us to share the team's findings this afternoon is Jeff Ruebesam, Vice President of Health, Safety, and Environmental for Fluor Corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Ruebesam.
Thank you. I hope everyone's still hanging in there. It is 4 o'clock. And just so you know, I hid the clicker that worked. So I'm going to start out by just introducing the team here, the research team for 301, which dealt with the issue of using near-miss reporting to enhance safety performance. We had a very full team, as you see, made up of good composition of owners and contractors, as well as very strong support from the academic side. This slide really illustrates that our project, research project, really built on a long list of CII work aimed at improving construction safety programs and performance. And in particular, our program expands, or our project expands, on the work done by Research Team 284, which dealt with the issue of implementing active leading indicators. So now I'm going to show you a brief video from that team talking about leading indicators, and in particular, talking about near-miss reporting.
The point is, when a doctor checks your cholesterol and your blood pressure and tells you don't eat so much bacon, he's using leading indicators to save your life. And likewise, on construction projects, when we check safety audits, housekeeping, near-miss reporting, worker involvement, worker observations, stop work authority, safety leadership training, hazard recognition programs, or any of the many other leading indicators for safety, we are measuring so that we can make suggestions that can improve our safety culture and save lives. And that is why leading indicators are one of my favorite things.
Okay, so what is a near miss? And I've got to say that the team spent a lot of time on this one, and pretty much for every person we had on the team, there was a different opinion on what the definition was. So after much debate and discussion and really not getting any further to resolution, we really kind of fell back and asked ourselves a more fundamental question, which was, what are we trying to get out of a near-miss program? And so through asking that question, we gained a lot more consensus on really the purpose. And it really boiled down for us to making sure that our workers were a partner in safety with us, that they were able to recognize unsafe conditions, to communicate those to us, to help us take action to resolve those issues and to reduce risk, and ultimately to prevent adverse outcomes from future situations. So we came up with a rather broad definition of near miss, which is an unplanned event or unsafe condition that has a potential for injury or illness of people or damage to property of the environment. So that's very broad, but we felt that it was a good definition to really extract a lot of good information from what's going on at project sites. And so if you take a look at Heinrich's safety pyramid, I hope most of you are familiar with this. It's been around since about 1930. But Heinrich's safety pyramid is built on the principle that there are less severe incidents that take place than more severe. And if you take a look at these three indicators here with fatalities and recordable injuries and first aids, that's really lagging indicator information. Something's happened, somebody was impacted as a result of that thing happening. What our group did is we took a look at the leading indicator piece of that triangle. And in particular, we focused in on the near-miss category there you see in blue, which includes hazardous conditions by our definition. And what we really found was that, we're not getting as much of that information as we really could be if we had an effective near-miss program. Yeah, we do our safety audits, and we also have our management walkthroughs, but the time spent doing those activities is rather small compared to the total time that those activities, the total activities are being completed. So there's a wealth of information that we could still get at if we just had our employees engaged and we're able to really capture more of that information. The more we capture, the more we learn, the better we can perform. Okay, so a little bit about our research methodology. It started out with a literature review, and we looked at not only the construction industry and what was being done in terms of near-miss reporting there, but we also looked at other industries, and like, for example, aviation, healthcare, to see what other industry groups are doing in this regard. From there, we developed a questionnaire for interviews that would be conducted at site. So there was a number of site people interviewed, which consisted of everything from foremen to site safety professionals and craft workers. From there, we developed some near-miss reporting guidelines, and then we implemented those guidelines in 2 different sets of projects. The first set of projects was monitoring projects, and these were sets of projects where companies already had near-miss reporting programs, but allowed us to introduce certain aspects of our program so that we could capture consistent data with the next group of projects, which were the intervention projects. These were projects where sites didn't have a near-miss reporting program and adopted our near-miss reporting guidelines entirely. From there, we collated that information, and based on that information, we developed a program evaluation tool, which you'll see during the implementation session. Okay, so this is our near-miss reporting process map, and it contains a number of steps that we feel are critical to implementing an effective near-miss reporting program. Again, in the implementation session, we go into detail on each one of these boxes that you see here, and provide real guidance and help on how to both implement the program and then make sure that it's operating effectively. Okay, in addition to that, we developed a number of implementation resources for companies. There's a flow chart on near-miss reporting, which kind of walks you through what to do once a near-miss report is received and the key actions to be taken and how to separate out significant near misses from more minor ones and so forth. A reporting card, which can be used by folks at site to report near misses. A database so that you can track your near-miss data, and an evaluation tool so that you can evaluate the effectiveness of your near-miss reporting program. In terms of findings, we've kind of categorized them in 2 main areas here. One being barriers, another one being enablers. The number one barrier that we found through interviews with people was really the fear of retaliation. So there's a fear out there among employees that if they bring forward this information, that there's going to be some kind of retaliatory measure taken on them by either management or their peers. And so to implement an effective near-miss reporting program, you really need to address that fear of retaliation. And you do that through education of the entire workforce and making your motives clear in terms of why you're implementing a near-miss program. It's to learn and get better and prevent those things from happening again, not to retaliate. The other thing is we found that the lack of training was another big one, where people just didn't know how to use the program. You know, it was there, but people just didn't know how to really report these things effectively. And then a program killer is no follow-up. So if you ask your employees for information, they provide it to you, and they don't see you taking action to address those issues, that'll kill the program. On the enabler side, it's really about leadership and communication. You know, leaders have to be all in on this. The site has to be all in. Communications have to be consistent. They have to be repeated. They have to be on the mark, and they have to ensure employees of the true motives of your program and what you intend to do with the data and how it will help everyone in the long run if it's run properly. Research conclusions. A near-miss reporting program isn't a standalone safety program. You really need to have a strong safety foundation as a prerequisite to implementing a near-miss program. But having that in place, a near-miss program can greatly enhance your safety program. You know, it can help you overcome that fear that we talked about before. And again, if you want people to really be your partner, your workers to be your partner in safety, they have to trust you. And so an effective near-miss reporting program can really get at the heart of that. It can enhance awareness for everyone on site, awareness of what's really going on the site, and enhance the awareness of people just out there looking for these things and reporting them properly. Ultimately, it lowers risks and it improves safety performance. And when you improve safety performance, we can start improving on that plateau that we're experiencing right now in terms of industry-wide performance. And ultimately, it can help save lives. So the implementation session is going to contain detailed discussions on our site interviews, monitoring and intervention work, the implementation strategies. There's several strategies you can use for implementing these programs. Demonstration of the tools, which we talked about before, which are the flow chart and reporting card, as well as the databases and a program evaluation tool, which really asks your users to provide you information about how effective the program is from their perspective. And some Q&A. So, for those of you who still have the energy today, we have an implementation session that starts at 5 p.m. in Grand Ballroom 7. If you prefer, there's another session in the morning that starts at 8:35 a.m. in the same ballroom. And our research is also available on the download page for CII website. On a more somber note, I have to say that we lost a key member of our team during this project. Dr. Jimmy Hensey, who was our lead researcher, died last August. And, that left a big gap on our team. Dr. Hensey was a passionate person who had a great amount of expertise in the area of construction safety. In fact, he wrote the book, Construction Safety. He was a great teammate. He was a great mentor and coach to many of us. And at this meeting last year, he received the award for Outstanding Researcher. So Dr. Hensey is going to be missed by all of us that got to know him and work with him. So with that, I'll close, and thank you for listening, and please stop by our implementation session to learn more on our research project.